should all know as naturals. Naturals, in this category, I'm talking about anyone from a 3C to a 4C. Okay, people with tightly dense or curly hair. Okay, so today's topic is about, like I mentioned prior, a really important topic I wanted to discuss, which is porosity. And specifically, not just porosity, but porosity for Afro descendants. Okay? So I have a few notes here that I made for myself to keep myself on track. So in case you're wondering, what is she looking at? What is she referencing? That's what I am looking at. But I do want to make a disclaimer. The information I have here, I've gathered for the last year and a half through research. The number one thing that I've noticed that makes such a big difference for Afro-descendant people when it comes to hair type is porosity. I noticed that curl type isn't really that big of a deal. It doesn't really make a huge impact when it comes to how we care for our hair and how we actually products that we buy, how we apply products. Curl type is not really that important. When it comes down to it, when it boils down to the nitty gritty, porosity is, in my opinion, the number one important thing that you should know as an Afro-descendant person. So what about porosity should you know? Okay, so people with Afro-descendant hair types, which I specifically noted earlier was around 3C to 4C. I included 3C, but majority of this information is tailored to 4A to 4C curl types. Quotation mark with the curl types because, as I mentioned, the curl type is not that important, but it just gives you a visual to kind of understand which group of people I am talking about here. So how or what should Afro-descendants people know? Afro-descendant people have one thing in common. You have African lineage. What does that mean? That means that somewhere down the line, somebody in your family came from Africa. That's the basic understanding of Afro-descendant lineage, right? People that are Afro-descendant have highly porous hair. I know that some people are gonna be like, oh, well, my hair is low porosity, da da da. It's for the majority of Afro-descendant people. Our hair type is more fragile in the sense that our hair has bends and what we like to call kinks, right? Those kinks are bends that kind of change the structural integrity of our hair. What does that mean? That means that our hair is not straight. It bends and it kinks and it turns and it's just different, right? We know this. You can visually look at an Afro-descendant person and look at someone that may be of a Caucasian or Asian descendant, and you can clearly see the physical characteristics of our hair is different. Each single bend in an Afro-descendant person represents a point of fragility. So that area that is bending, your kinks, as you might like to call it in the Afro community, represents a fragile area of your hair structure. Generally speaking, if you're a type 4A, you're gonna have less bends in your hair, right? And if you're 4C, you're gonna have more bends and kinks in your hair, right? Anything that has to do with mechanical or chemical manipulation, your hair just does not like it. Does not like it, meaning that it's more fragile and it's more prone to breakage when you brush your hair, when you straighten your hair, when you add chemicals like perms, relaxers. Your hair is already working at a place where it's fragile, so any of those kind of things is not really conducive to hair growth for you. A lot of people that are Afro-descendant, that I clearly see the physical characteristics of their hair is Afro-descendant, have been saying that their hair is low porosity. Now, that doesn't go hand in hand with research. Our hair is very hard to be low porosity because every bend and kink means that you are not low porosity. If you have any bends or kinks in your hair, you're more likely to be medium to high porosity. So if you have bends and gaps and kinks in your hair, it doesn't really go with being low porosity, right? Someone that is low porosity does not have a lot of bends and kinks in their hair. Now, you can get high porosity if you're someone with low porosity by altering your hair in some kind of way, whether it's mechanical through excessive combing, brushing, terrible detangling practices, high heat practices, chemical alterations. Yes, if you do have low porosity, you can become medium to high porosity. Medium to high porosity, yeah, it's kind of hard to go to low porosity. It just doesn't work for us. Unless we do some kind of keratin treatment, things that kind of go in between the areas that are bends and kinks and covers it and seals it. So then that takes your kink and makes it straight or wavy. Yes, that is possible for us. But on a natural, general basis, Afro-descendants do not have low porosity hair. If you feel like you just don't know how to deal or take care of your hair, honestly, the answer may be because you don't know your porosity and you think it's low. Now, people with medium to high porosity have a huge issue with retaining moisture, and because our hair is porous, meaning moisture just, as soon as it comes out, as soon as it comes in, it's out, right? So we have a hard time with moisture balance. How do we retain moisture and protein balance? You have to do your hair. Doesn't mean you have to do your hair every single day, but it means you have to do your hair enough to understand what your hair needs in certain areas and time frames. If your hair is snapping off, you know you need moisture. That means you have either protein overload or too much protein. If your hair is very dry and mushy, or if your hair is not acting in the way it usually does, your curls don't look the same, they look really limp, you know that you need to add protein to your regimen. Use little to no heat. You want to minimize the amount of heat you're using on a daily, a weekly basis, because it's just not something that's conducive to our hair growth. Can you use heat in a healthy way? Yes. But most of us don't, because we barely know our hair porosity. So how are we using heat in a healthy way, right? And how much heat can your hair take? And one way you can find out is by finding out what your hair is. Is my hair medium porosity? Is my hair high porosity? Which one is it? Am I in between? Where can I, how much heat can I use before my hair starts to feel like it's getting damaged, right? That is kind of like a sweet spot that you have to figure out for yourself as an Afro-descendant. No one else can really find out for you unless you have your own personal hairstylist. And even a hairstylist is not dealing with your hair on a regular basis, and they have other clients. So I really highly encourage you as Afro-descendant, learn your hair and figure out what your porosity is, because all these things I'm listing, porosity plays a big role. To know how long can I go before I have to now replace that moisture or redo my regimen without getting any kind of breakage or any negative side effects from not washing my hair for a few days. You have to figure out what the sweet spot is, okay? Another thing is try to not use chemicals, right? Perms, relaxers, things that are highly damaging for our hair. What it does to us is that it takes our hair from medium to high to even higher porosity, and that can really cause a lot of havoc, wreak havoc on us. A lot of Afro descendants that don't know how to properly care for relaxed hair after they've relaxed it, or colored hair, any of these chemical alterations, often experience a lot of hair breakage and hair damage. So you really have to make sure you're going to a professional that knows what they're doing, knows how Afro-descendant hair works, okay? Not just any Joe Schmo hairstylist, someone that understands your hair. And you need to make sure that these things are in the hairstylist's reservoir, right? They know how to deal with Afro-descendant hair, high porosity, they know what products to use, they know how to detangle your hair. These are all very important information that you need to know that your stylist is able to do for you. I always say low and slow. Low meaning you start from the lowest ends of your hair and you go slowly till you get to the top. This, we already know that. Thank God for YouTube. We already know that, okay? In case you don't though, blow and trim your ends. Your hair is already highly porous. If you don't trim your ends, then you're just making that porosity just increase in porosity, right? Like you're taking your medium to high porosity and making it even higher at your ends. So your ends are gonna act funky, they're not gonna do what they're supposed to do. And that split end can travel up to higher parts in your hair shaft. Just a quick recap. Moisture and protein balance. You need to make sure, okay, first of all, let's start from one. Know your porosity. If you don't know your porosity, anything else on this list is not gonna make any difference and you're just gonna be like doing stuff to just do stuff, right? Know your porosity. Moisture and protein balance. Know when your hair needs moisture, when your hair needs protein. If you keep your hair in protective styles for over months on end, you can't really understand what your hair is trying to tell you because it's muffled, right? You can't see it, you can't feel it, you can't understand it. Bond products. Use Bond products as needed. I would suggest once a month to every 6 to 8 weeks for Bond products. Use little to no heat. Always seal moisture in. Do not use chemicals. Detangle slowly, low and slow, right? And lastly, trim your ends. Those are all the things that every single person with mid-back to hip length to thigh length hair that are Afro descendants have in common. I see a lot of videos where people are like, buy this hair oil and then get hair down to your knees. It just doesn't work that way, right? There's no product in this world that's going to make your hair grow faster than your genetic predisposed growth rate. There's just no product that's going to give you 2+ inches in 3 weeks. It's just, there's not. I just want people to not be misled in the wrong direction. I really just want us as a community to start watching videos and doing our own research. Is this science-based? Is this backed up by science? What does my hair porosity as Afro-descendant looks like in a microscope, right? I think there's a person on YouTube, Natural Nadine, yes. She made a video about how our hair shaft actually looks in a microscope, right? Things like that are just the kind of information you want to consume as a consumer, right? You want to be an informed consumer that takes information and doesn't take it to just take it, but actually does research to back up the information you're consuming, right? I hope that after this video, you guys go do your research and see what I'm saying, you know, and really get to the hair growth lengths that you want, to the hair growth health that you want, and really get there in a comforting, relaxing way that you're not going to be misled to buy 10,000 products to get there. I've had hip length hair, cut it off, had mid-back hair, cut it off. I cut my hair off all the time and I grow it back. It is what it is. Might still do that just to show you guys this information is factual. Might do that. let me know if you guys are interested in that. Half of my hair is altered by heat processes, and the other half is completely healthy. So I just want you guys to understand what certain choices does to your hair, our Afro-descendant hair. Okay, and now that I've kind of done every little thing that you shouldn't have done or you shouldn't be doing as Afro-descendant, I have experience in telling you guys how to go about, I guess, avoiding those decisions, or if you're going to do it, how to do it in a smart and logical and planned out way. Okay? That is it. I hope you guys enjoyed. I can't wait to see you guys for the next video, and I'm so excited for our community and the knowledge we are gaining and, you know, putting out there. See you guys in the next video. Bye.